Welcome to Sundust. Short horror stories where the shadows run deep. Tonight, from the hollows of eastern Kentucky, the Black Vein. Summer '98 in Harlan County was a scorcher. Me and Cassie, both 16 and restless, decided to do what every kid threatened but few dared: go inside the Black Vein mine. Shut down since '73 after a cave-in killed 12 men. The entrance was chained and posted, but we slipped through a gap in the fence at dusk. The air turned cold and heavy the moment we crossed the threshold. Cassie's flashlight cut a weak path through the dark graffiti, rusted pails and silence, until we heard the singing. Low, rough, a lone male voice drifting up the tunnel. Shall we gather at the river? An old hymn echoing like the mountain itself was humming along. We should have left. We followed it instead. The passage narrowed, fresh boot prints marked the cold dust. Around a bend we saw him, a miner in a tattered coat and dead headlamp helmet, swinging a silent pick at the wall, singing soft and steady. Then he stopped, turned. Where eyes should have been, only wet black hollows stared back. Dust poured from his open mouth. You hear it too? He rasped. The river is rising. The flashlight flickered the cold bit deep and the singing started again. Only now it was many voices, hollow and wet, getting closer. We ran. The tunnel twisted, changed, footsteps multiplied behind us. Water rushed somewhere below. We hid behind a collapsed cart until the chorus passed, then bolted for the faint glow of outside. We burst into the night and collapsed, lungs full of dust. The gap we'd entered through was gone. The gate was locked tight. We never told the full story. Folks blamed fumes or imagination. But on quiet nights, drivers near the mine still hear that hymn drifting from the mountain. And sometimes fresh prints appear in the dust outside the gate, leading in, never out. They say the river those miners sing of isn't the Cumberland. It's older, deeper, and it's still looking for voices. That was the Black Vein. If it got under your skin, please like, subscribe, and leave a review. It means the world will be back next week with more dust and shadows. Until then, keep your light on.
Welcome to Sundust, short horror stories, where we delve into the chilling tales that lurk in the shadows of the everyday. I'm your host, bringing you real-life encounters with the unknown that will make your skin crawl. Tonight's story comes from a hunter's terrifying experience deep in the wilderness, a reminder that the woods hold secrets far more dangerous than we imagine. Sit back, turn down the lights, and listen to the scream from the woods. Hunting has always been more than just a hobby for some folks. In modern times, it's often about the thrill, the fresh air, and connecting with nature. But go back a generation or two, and it was a way of life, putting food on the table and testing your survival skills against the wild. I've loved hunting since I was a kid, tagging along with my dad on trips into the backcountry. There's nothing quite like it, until the day it turns terrifying. This happened when I was about 14. My dad and I hiked a couple of miles into some really deep woods far from any trails or roads. We were looking for deer, but the signs pointed to something bigger, bear territory. There were fresh deer carcasses scattered around, half-eaten and torn apart. Bones lay everywhere, picked clean. Piles of scat dotted the ground, and the trees nearby were marked with huge claw scrapings. Deep gashes that no bobcat could make. It was eerie, but my dad was the brave type. He got tired after a while and decided to lean against a big oak tree for a quick nap. "Keep watch, son," he said, tipping his hat over his eyes. I wasn't so calm. I shouldered my rifle, heart pounding, expecting a massive bear to lumber out of the brush at any second. Before I knew it, I'd wandered a bit farther than I should have. I could barely make out the tree where Dad was resting. The woods were dead quiet, too quiet. Then out of nowhere came this sound, an extremely loud, blood-curdling scream echoed through the trees. It pierced right through me. I don't mind admitting it. I nearly wet my pants from sheer terror. As the shock wore off, it hit me. Its scream sounded exactly like a woman in agony. A human woman that threw me off even more. Who else would be way out here? No other hunters ventured this deep. Then panic set in. She must have stumbled across a bear. Maybe she was hurt, cornered, fighting for her life. Suddenly, I wasn't scared anymore. I was on a rescue mission. I picked up my pace, crashing through the underbrush toward the sound. The scream came again, closer this time, guiding me like a beacon. My mind raced with images of helping some poor, lost hiker. Then all of a sudden, I burst into a small clearing. And there it was. Not a woman, not a bear. Standing right in front of me was a huge black panther, sleek, muscular, and utterly silent until now. Its yellow eyes locked onto mine, gleaming with predatory focus. I'd been a fool, rushing headlong toward the noise without thinking I'd walk straight into a death trap. The big cat held its ground, crouching low like a house cat toying with a mouse before the pounce. Its muscles tensed, tail twitching. I remembered reading somewhere that big cats like this won't attack if you keep eye contact. They prefer to strike when your back is turned. So I froze, staring it down, rifle half raised but not daring to move too fast. An idea flashed in my mind: slowly bring the gun up and take the shot. But as I inched the barrel higher, the panther dropped even lower, ears flat, ready to spring. I held still, sweat pouring down my face, time stretching into eternity. Then boom! A deafening gunshot shattered the silence. I whipped around to see my dad standing there, smoke curling from his rifle barrel. He'd nailed the panther right in the head. The massive cat crumpled to the ground, dead before it hit the leaves. We didn't stick around to admire our trophy or skin it or anything like that. No photos, no bragging rights. We just turned tail and ran like hell all the way back to civilization. To this day, I can't explain how that panther got there. They're not supposed to roam these parts. But one thing's for sure, the woods aren't always as empty as they seem, and some screams aren't human at all. That wraps up tonight's chilling tale on Sundust Short Horror Stories. If that scream in the dark sent shivers down your spine, do me a favor, hit that like button. Subscribe for more bone-chilling episodes every week, and leave a review to let me know what you thought. Your support keeps the shadows alive. Until next time, stay out of the deep woods after dark. Good night.
Welcome back to Sundust, Short Horror Stories, where the woods hold secrets darker than the shadows under the canopy. I'm your host, bringing you another true tale that reminds us, out in the wild, you're never truly alone. In the remote mountains of West Virginia, deer season draws hunters deep into ancient forests. But sometimes the pursuit reverses, and the hunter becomes prey. Tonight's story comes from Coal River, a lonely stretch of Raleigh County where the trees grow thick and sound disappears into the hollows. This account belongs to a man who no longer hunts solo. He calls it the Hunters. Last mid-fall, as the leaves turned fiery, I headed to Coal River for opening day. It's remote, Miles of untouched woods, no roads or houses nearby. I didn't hit the trail until 10 that morning. But the woods were alive. Squirrels chattering, birds overhead, fresh deer sign everywhere. I tracked a big buck all afternoon, pushing deeper into dense brush and low branches. Cresting a ridge, I spotted 3 other hunters standing still beneath a massive oak, rifles slung, staring at the ground. I waved and called, "Hey, see anything good?" They didn't respond at first up close. They swayed slightly, eyes vacant. I asked again, "What are you hunting?" The tallest one lifted his head slowly. His voice was flat and hollow. "Meat." Just that word, no smile, no elaboration. Unease hit hard. I muttered goodbye and veered away. 15 minutes later, rustling behind me, I glanced back. The same 3, trailing at a steady distance. At first I rationalized it. Then they stayed on my path, never gaining, never falling back. I jogged into thicker cover and lost them briefly. Relief was short. They reappeared, closer. Fear took over, heart pounding, hands shaking. Then a gunshot cracked, the bullet whizzed past my ear, bark exploded beside me. I screamed and ran, crashing through brush branches, tearing at my face. Behind me came pursuit. Heavy footsteps, shouted curses, wild laughter, more blind shots, splintering trees. I never looked back, lungs burning, legs screaming. I ran until the trees thinned and I reached my truck. I dove in, locked the doors and tore out of there. In the rearview mirror, nothing. They were gone. You made it home, but never returned to those woods alone. Some say those men weren't after deer. In places that isolated, old stories speak of people gone feral, living off the land, and anything else that strays too deep. So next time you hear a twig snap in the autumn woods, ask yourself, is it a buck or something hunting you? Thanks for joining me in the Sundust tonight. Keep your fire bright and stay out of the deep woods.
Here I lie beneath the coarse and hardened dirt, laid to rest before my time. Oh, the pain that I endured. Rigor mortis grips my weary flesh as the worms come crawling slow about. Here I linger in this shallow grave, a victim of a sinister, cruel flout. Many years have slipped away, yet still I remain beneath the ground. Friends and kin still wonder long if my bones will ever once be found. For the killer walks free upon the loose, never paying for his dark crimes. But someday justice will be done. He'll be judged when he meets his own